seemingly because Democratic voters are looking for someone, anyone else, to represent the party in 2024. Voters are screaming for another option. It doesn't seem that they want to listen, though. Joining us now is Sheila Huggins. She's a member of the Democratic National Committee, elected to her post in 2016. She's one of the very few party officials who would like to see Democrats go in a different direction in 2024. Thanks so much for coming on the show. Appreciate it. So when you say that you think that Democrats should consider going in a different direction, are you treated like a pariah?
Most people aren't really listening to me. Remember, I'm just one voice out of hundreds of DNC members.
Yeah, but the point is that you would think that just by looking at the polls, right? And this is not intended to be a critique of Biden. I'm just saying what people are saying, right? What people are thinking, what people may do at the voting booth. You would think that Democrats would be very nervous, very scared, to the point where they would say, you know, maybe we should at least consider somebody else.
Well, I do think Democrats are scared. I just don't think that they want to say that out loud. I think that's what we're talking about here. I think there is a recognition that we have not been connecting with the voters. We talk about not having messaging a lot when it's really about marketing. We just are not connecting with voters. They look at Biden now and they say, okay, he's who we have. I have plenty of people that just ask me, Sheila, is there nobody else? Is this our choice for 2024? And that is how they speak about it. They aren't excited. They are not energized. And I'm not sure they're going to come out to vote.
Well, we just showed a picture of Gavin Newsom there. He's been doing a lot of interviews as of late. You think he's preparing as the sort of backup guy to come in and save the day?
Oh, yeah. I definitely think he's putting on his suit, walking around, trying to give everyone the impression that, hey, I'm ready if Biden isn't. I'm your guy. But I think he's going to have some problems sort of establishing himself as next in line. You know, there have been a number of issues in California. I think the Republicans are going to pick up on that. They're going to run videos of San Francisco businesses leaving, and they're going to say, hey, is this really what you want your country to look like? Do you really want Governor Newsom becoming the next president so that all of America can look like San Francisco? I think that is what their marketing is going to do, and that's just going to help get their voters out.
Fair point.
We're going to have a problem if
Let me just
they
ask
go
you,
in that direction.
I'm out of time. One word. If there was one candidate who you would hope would run against Biden, who would it be?
I don't know that I have a candidate.
All right.
It's really hard.
I got it. All right. I got to go. I was hoping you'd have a one-name answer, and I'd say, oh, my goodness, wow, did you hear what she said? Anyway, Sheila, thanks a lot for taking the time. Appreciate it.
Yep.
Coming up, thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your cable provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.